talk about self-publishing. Self-publishing is the route of pretty much you just doing everything yourself. So 2 pros of self-publishing. Number 1 is that you get to learn your craft. I always talk about it is so important to know all the ins and outs of publishing a book. It's one thing to be a writer, it's another thing to actually run a business. It's completely different. And so when you are self-publishing, you get all up in the nitty-gritty of the book. You figure out what is interior design, what is exterior design, what makes a good cover, what makes a bad cover. Let's talk about grammar and, punctuation and editing. And even if you want to go into the realm of ebooks, or even if you want to go into the realm of audiobooks, that's a whole nother ball game. So you are learning the ins and outs of publishing a book, and I'm telling you, from my own experience, it is definitely a process. So I feel like that's a pro, because at the end of the day, you don't want to just hand your book off to somebody and you don't even know what they're supposed to do. You don't know the expectation. You don't even know how to do it yourself. And so I feel like that's a pro, is that you really get to be in the nitty-gritty of the book process. Second pro when it comes down to self-publish is that you take home majority of the profit. Now again, if you do self-publish, you can go through different routes. Such as KDP, you can also do Barnes & Noble, whatever the case may be. They are going to take a percentage out of it, but they're not going to take a lot of royalty out of it. They're not going to take majority of your paycheck. So that is another pro that I would consider, is that you will at least take home majority of the money. The 2 cons when it comes down to self-publish is that number 1, it is time consuming. It is time consuming. It is time consuming. It is time consuming. If you got, the schedule, the flexibility, if you can just release a book in a week, by all means give it up for you. For me, my first book literally took me 3 or 4 years. My second book probably took me a year, and my third book took me probably about 6 months. So I definitely was able to speed up the process, but it's a process, and I really want to harp on it is time consuming. Very much time consuming. Second con to when it comes down to self-publish is that you have to make sure that, again, you are building the audience, you're building the anticipation, you are building all of the hype regarding your book. And at the end of the day, it's not necessarily about the sales, it's about the impact and it's about the purpose. So I would say number 2 con, at least for me, was the marketing. That is my slow suit. That is definitely my downfall, especially from releasing my first book. Not necessarily my second or third book, but the first book, I feel like I really didn't build up a hype enough about it. I wasn't really talking about it. I was nervous, I was anxious, I just was all over the place. So just know that you are going to be your number 1 fan. You are going to be the person that's going to have to market the book. It's one thing to release a book, but again, you have to take on that business hat and you have to learn how to market your book. Comment down below, what are you thinking about doing for your first book? Let me know if you're thinking about taking the traditional route or you're thinking about just self-publishing. Talk to you later. Bye.